Last year, Iowa State won the Big 12 championship, finished 32-5, and nearly beat national champion Michigan State. Encore, the Cyclones are on the cusp of winning the Big 12 again. But tonight, they meet the Kansas State Wildcats in Manhattan. Ben Boyle, when you look at this game, it could be decided by the guards.
It's going to be a great matchup tonight, a matchup of the best point guard in America, Jamaal Tinsley, and a player who's becoming one of the better point guards in the Big 12, Larry Reed. When you talk about Iowa State, you got to start with the guy they call the abuser, Jamaal Tinsley, without question, a first-team All-American, had 26 against Kansas State in the first matchup, but it's not just about the numbers, it's about his leadership and the fact that he makes everybody else around him a better player. That's why Iowa State is atop the Big 12 standings. For Kansas State, Larry Reed plays his best against the best. Dropped 30 and matched Tinsley shot for shot in the first matchup. Can shoot the three, hit 7 of 9 in the first meeting against Iowa State. Playing very well in Big 12 conference play. Kansas State will need another good scoring game tonight from Larry Reed if they're going to knock off the Cyclones.
One thing is certain. Jim Woolridge has restored the toughness and the pride in Kansas State's basketball program. The Cats have already beaten nationally ranked Iowa and Missouri. Can they do it tonight against Iowa State? Iowa State. National Coach of the Year candidate again, Larry Eustace, in his third year at Iowa State. This is, well, last year was 32-5. This year 22-3, and has done maybe a better job this year than he did even last year. His lineup is powerful in the backcourt. Ben already mentioned Tinsley, but Tinsley gets help. Jake Sullivan is coming off a career game against Kansas, and Kentrail Horton can also fill it up. But the two guys that get it done in the middle are Martine Rancic and Meriden, Kansas native Paul Shirley, who played high school ball at Jeff West High School.
Come out to compete every game, and that's certainly something he's got going here with the work ethic. And really, you look at their Big 12 record, 3-9. Let a few games slip away down the stretch. They're about 3 plays away from being 500 in the league, 6-6, and almost knocked off Iowa State up in Ames as well.
Quickly, your keys.
Well, I think for Kansas State, from a psychological point, just bring some emotion and energy to the floor tonight. Not a lot of size, but they'll kill you with their quickness.
People expected Iowa State to fall off this year with the loss of Marcus Fizer to the NBA. But when you look at the job Larry Eustace has done this year, they haven't missed a beat.
Well, not only Fizer did they lose, they also lost a pretty good guard in Michael Nurse and Stevie Johnson, who played the 3 position. Those were 3 talented players.
They lost 45 points and 17 rebounds, and they're sniffing for their second consecutive Big 12 title after going nearly over 50 years without winning one. Rancic with it, Kansas State on defense. Sullivan sets up Rancic. Rebound. Buchanan for K-State.
Well, that's what you got to do with Sullivan. Reed rushed out on him, forced him to put it on the floor. He just wants to sit outside and shoot jump shots all night. Forced him to put it on the floor. Made a nice pass to Rancic, but Rancic missed the jump shot.
Shirley on Howell, singled out on the post. Kelvin Howell leaves it way short, and Iowa State has it back. Howell coming off 21 points and 20 rebounds against Texas Tech on Sunday. Iowa State trying to establish an inside presence early. Fort long on the three-point attempt.
Early matchups defensively for Kansas State. It's Richie Terry getting the start on Tinsley. We'll see if he can shut down his penetration. Buchanan has Horton.
K-State sets up in the triangle offense. Buchanan with a size advantage on Horton. Weaves through and can't finish the play.
Didn't have the angle there to use the glass, and just a little bit strong, but a nice move on the baseline by Buchanan.
And timeout called by Paul Shirley to avoid a turnover. And since it's the first timeout call in the half, this will be a full timeout. Neither team has scored. Let's take a look at the matchup advantage that Buchanan here had against Kentrail Horton.
Well, he's a guy who had a decent game in the first matchup. He can use his size at 6'7", and he plays much bigger because of his length. And he can overwork Kentrail Horton down there on the low block. Good idea by Jim Woolridge to get it down there.
I mentioned to Jim Woolridge today, I said your structure gives you a chance in every game. The triangle will give you opportunities if you stay with it.
Well, and this team's getting more and more comfortable with it. Hence the fact that they're shooting better in Big 12 conference play than they did in the non-conference, so they're becoming more comfortable with it. And when you run it and execute it, it's tough to guard.
A lot of teams will set up ISOs with pick and rolls or clear outs. The triangle has a little bit of everything. It's got also a clear out of back cut. Anything you want to find, you'll find it in that triangle.
And they don't even have the entire offense in yet. So they're just running a lot of the base stuff.
Tinsley, Terry's done a good job on him early. And an off-balance jumper by Jake Sullivan for 2.
Well, we saw him do that Saturday against Kansas. Likes that shot as he runs the baseline, gets a pick. Kind of a turnaround off-balance shot. He has the ability to knock it down.
Seabrand, layup. Basket will go. Foul on Iowa State, Sullivan.
It's nice to see Kansas State getting its post players involved early on. And Seabrand, he's got a patent on this little left-handed hook. The only guy I've seen in this league stop that little left-handed shot was Kamani Friend from Nebraska, and he stops everybody down in the low block.
Well, he tricks them because they stand at the free throw line and they say, he's right-handed. And then, nope, he zooms by left-handed. The ambidextrous Matt Seabrand, who has hit 18 straight free throws, shooting 73% at the line for the year.
Yeah, 18 in a row since overtime against Oklahoma when he missed a couple of key ones with just a few seconds left, but now 19 in a row since then. So he's learned from that closing seconds against Oklahoma.
So is he left-handed or is he right-handed?
But he's right-handed. Unless he's within 15 feet.
4 minutes gone. K-State playing well early against the 6th-ranked team in the country. That's not Sullivan's shot.
That's what you want to force him to do. Put it on the floor. You got to fly to these shooters at Iowa State. They're so good. They want to sit out there and shoot jump shots. They don't shoot shots off the dribble back there.
Tinsley has yet to put up a shot for Iowa State. Linus Atchison in the K-State lineup now, along with Travis Reynolds. They've been pop-up jumper missing from Atchison. Those two guys have been very comfortable coming in off the bench as weapons.
Well, they've been effective as well. Most of nights they come in and give Kansas State a good scoring lift off the bench. And good start here for Kansas State, tied at 7.
Read on Tinsley this time, so they switched up defensive with Terry out. They put Reed on him, and Tinsley goes right after.
Almost impossible to stop one-on-one. Here he is. Watch Reed. He just flies off of him. Tinsley, he doesn't look that strong, but he is unbelievably strong at 6'3", about 200 pounds. Not a whole lot of contact there, but as Reed did rush him, it didn't make a difference.
Tinsley with the free throw. Reed needed some help side. Help didn't get it. 10-7. The 6th-ranked Cyclones lead by 3.
Going to see Matt Seabrand drive the baseline. This is where he wants the basketball. That's a matchup he likes against Paul Shirley. Shirley doesn't have the quickness to match up with him. Going to the left hand, Sullivan gets there late. He gets the three-point play.
Matt Seabrand, 5 points, has yet to miss a shot, catching a rest here for the moment. Iowa State trying to pick up its intensity defensively. Buchanan using the on-ball screen and knocked down the shot.
Big shot by Buchanan. Normally you like to see him operate within the 15-foot range, but at times has the ability to knock that in. When he's shooting a jump shot, he can become a big X factor for Kansas State at the offensive end.
And a nice screen by Kelvin Howell. Underneath now, Tyree Pearson gets posted up. K-State defends it well and has the ball back in the hands of Richie Terry.
Good job on the glass so far by Kansas State. They've got a 5-4 edge.
Shot high, forced. This time by Travis Reynolds. It's out of bounds. It's Iowa State, and Ron Zetcher will come in and change the call.
Tinsley tried to set a pick on Ron Zetcher so he couldn't come in and overturn the call. And Tinsley still talking to him a little bit.
Larry State. Now there we go. There we're starting to just get him simmered here. He'll be boiling by the second half.
Cats could use a big game offensively from Atchison as well. He's the one guy that really didn't score that well in that first meeting against Iowa State. Only had 4 points in that ball game.
People know he can explode as a shot block. K-State will keep it. Atchison at 28 against Kansas.
Good defense. Help side here by Tyree Pearson. Good pass, but there's Pearson getting the block shot as he slides down to give help for this Iowa State defense.
Still 24 on the clock for K-State to shoot. Plenty of time to. We should have called this the Tim Floyd Bowl. You know,
yeah.
Both of these guys are Tim Floyd's guys. Underneath, strong with the ball, but it's knocked away. As Travis Reynolds had it and then knocked out of bounds. K-State will keep it, but Travis Reynolds thought he was fouled.
Larry Eustace, the hand-picked successor to Tim Floyd, and of course Jim Woodridge and Tim Floyd playing together in college at Louisiana Tech.
And Jim Woodridge was on the Chicago Bulls staff with Tim Floyd. Nice back cut. No tip.
I think Reynolds got fouled.
David Hall's going to make the call. And that call is going to go against Richard Evans of the Cyclones.
Reynolds should get 2 shots here as he was fouled in the air trying to get the tip in, and he will. Kansas State can take the lead. Long possession right here, and Kansas State's edge on the edge. And Eustace's got a technical.
Well, we said his demeanor would change. He didn't wait till the second half. David Hall has teed up Larry Eustace, and the simmer has turned into a full boil.
Well, he wants to let his team know that they're in for a battle tonight as Kansas State's off to a good start, and he wants to light a little fire under his team, so he takes the technical.
Watch this. Here comes the tee.
First, he didn't agree with the call. Then he went ballistic when he found out it was 2 shots.
Finus Atchison will go to the line first for K-State. And fans may remember in that Midwest Regional Final last year against Michigan State, the best game probably of the tournament. Eustace didn't see the end of that game. He had 2 techs and out of it.
Well, what a great game, and a game that Iowa State had a chance to win. And I really thought those were the 2 best teams in the country. It was a shame that Iowa State wasn't the #1 seed last year, because that should have been the NCAA championship matchup.
Eustace yelling at Ron Zetcher, but it was David Hall who teed him up. Now here come the regular foul shots for Reynolds, who's at 68% for the year. Kansas State has been inching up there, free throwing the basketball. Reed and Seabrand have been very good at the line. Atchison had just hit the 2 technicals at 77. Buchanan's at 71, but 2 misses by Reynolds.
Yeah, so actually the technical doesn't really hurt Kansas State.
11-10 Wildcats.
Cats a 9-5 edge on the glass. That's big news early on against an Iowa State team that leads the conference in rebounding.
Iowa State doesn't use its bench a whole lot, but they're giving some minutes to bench guys now. Sullivan just inside the arc. Evans working hard, fouled by Buchanan.
Evans gives him some quality minutes off the bench. Senior out of Dallas, just a defender and a rebounder. Guy who likes to get to the offensive glass. As Sullivan had his deuce rattle out, Evans in tight position in the foul on Buchanan coming over.
Iowa State loves to live at the free throw line. Larry Eustace's goal every year is to make more free throws than the opponent attempts, and he's right on line with doing that. Larry Eustace's team has made 512 free throws. The opponents have attempted 500, well, counting in tonight, about 530. So he's right on line with getting that coveted mark.
That's amazing, and it's because his guards continually attack. Tinsley, Horton so good off the dribble, and his big guys get to the line a lot, too. That was certainly the case in the first matchup. Iowa State 30 of 42 from the line. Kansas State only had 12 attempts in that game.
Evans, 2 free throws. Iowa State regains the lead. When you look at the total attempts now, Iowa State came into the game with about 700 attempts to 528 for their opponent. But Kansas State has come to play tonight. Good start for the Wildcats. It's going to be an offensive foul. Foul on Richie Terry pushing on. Second personal.
Richie trying to post up down low against Jake Sullivan, take advantage of his size and strength against the smaller Sullivan, but picks up a foul.
You know, it's interesting. Iowa State does a great job. When you look at their lineup, you'd think, well, wait a minute, you could get some matchup problems with Sullivan, Horton, with 3 guards out there, but somehow they were able to disguise that defense and stay away from those problems.
Yeah, their team defense is much better than they are as individual defenders, and that's a credit to Larry Eustace.
Iowa State has a 2-game lead in the Big 12. Trying to defend that tonight on the road. Trying to to give Tinsley a shot here. Reed is on it. Sullivan for the bonus bucket.
Rebound and a real battle as Pearson was going at it with Ivan Sulich.
Good job of blocking off by the Wildcats that time. Really had the cup around him.
Sulich swings it out to Reed. He's yet to pull the trigger. Iowa State fans remember him well, though. They know what he's capable of. Down low. In traffic, they lost it. It was Sebrandt giving it up. And now Sullivan ahead to Richard Evans. Tough job controlling, but Richard banks it in.
It was a nice touch pass by Sullivan. Coming down there, just touched it up, lobbed it up over the man where Richard could run under it.
Shane Power will check in at the next break for Iowa State. Coming off that great game against Kansas.
Baseline. No, you went over the middle. It looked like he had the base.
There's a three for Reed. Sulich, an offensive rebound, and he kicks it back out.
Sulich might have gotten away with a little push there. He had his arm on the back, got the knife down, and vaulted up over the top.
Sulich down low against Evans. He doesn't score much, and you can see why. He missed on a 2-foot hook shot, shooting at 4 feet.
His career high, 4 points. That was in a Kansas game.
Kentrail Horton looks things over. Horton drives, kick out to Sullivan. 3-ball on the way. Long rebound controlled by Buchanan, and Sullivan's gone cold from the floor.
Well, he's had a couple of good looks.
30-second timeout called by Jim Woodridge. Timeout on the floor, but Jake Sullivan and Richard Evans have teamed up to give Iowa State a 14-11 lead early on. State player for the Liberty Herbicide Off the Bench Award. So we hope you'll stay with us for that. We've already seen the bench used pretty extensively by Larry Eustace as Pearson and Richard Evans have played, and now Shane Power will check into the game.
John, as we look through those scores, one game that Cyclone fans shouldn't forget about, and one team particularly, is Texas playing Baylor. Texas is probably the team that can really throw a monkey wrench into the Iowa State plans of winning a championship. Depends on how things fall, because they probably got the easiest schedule in these last 4, and they have Iowa State at home.
Well, Gary, it's probably too early to tell how much of an effect it had, but when Larry Eustace got that technical, Iowa State has scored the next 4 points since then. Jumper Atchison missing. Rebound tipped out by Power, but controlled by the Wildcats. And now Atchison takes it in and draws a foul on Martin Ransom. Just a little quicker getting to the loose basketballs. Kansas State in the early going.
Now, from the start of that, I couldn't see whether, blocked out here a little bit by our monitor, whether Shane Power actually tipped that ball. I couldn't tell whether he actually could have controlled it himself, but he tried to tip it away, and Kansas State got the ball back.
Finest Tony Atchison to the free throw line, and he knocks it down.
I said earlier, you do not want to put their guards to the foul line. Excellent free throw shooters.
Atchison's hit 3 of 3 so far in this one.
One shot, play one.
Atchison, a transfer from Central Florida Community College. Played under Gene Smithson down there. Former Wichita State coach. And Atchison's hit all 4 of his free throws. Kansas State back within 1.
You notice Atchison that time, a 6'1", but a good jumper, and he took that ball right at Rancic, but the ability to move the ball around, again, got him the foul, instead of just taking it straight up to the basket.
Shane Power, Gary, coming off that great game against Kansas.
Yeah, career high, 18 points, shot the ball well, but besides his points, it was his all-around play, I think. Rebounding, 3 steals. Iowa State, if you look at it, dejected right now. Coach Larry Eustace here can't seem to get things on track here. Cyclones.
Atchison surveys things, and now a steal by Shane Power. Iowa State a 1-point lead in the ball, and here comes Tinsley.
Haven't seen much out of Kentrail Horton. You know, he's had the flu, in all fairness to him. It's weakened him. He's only had 2 for 10, I think, in the last 2 ball games shooting.
Wild shot by Tinsley, wouldn't fall. Scrapped for the rebound, and out of there with it comes Finest Atchison. And now Kansas State can retake the lead. We're midway through the first half, and it's been a sluggish start for the 6th-rated Iowa State Cyclones.
Kansas State getting the loose balls. So we're getting more of the loose balls right now, out hustling the Cyclones.
They've also out-rebounded Iowa State 14-7. So there's a steal for the Cyclones. And Horton threw it right back to Kansas State. Rancic wasn't looking as Horton threw the pass. And this is an Iowa State team that we haven't seen out of sync very often this season, at least lately. And they have been out of sync so far tonight.
Tinsley's been doing an excellent job on Larry Reed defensively. I think he's reacting from that 30 points that Reed got at Hill Coliseum. There's a foul if they didn't get called.
Now Tinsley will push it. A bounce pass to Shirley. Nice play.
John, excellent play. That was set up for an offensive foul, and he jumped away from the defender, and it ended up being a tough shot, not just a layup.
Well, Jim Woldridge, not unlike Larry Eustace, will use his timeouts to nip it in the bud if he sees something he doesn't like out there. And that time, Shirley just beat the big guys for Kansas State down the floor and got a layup, and that got his attention. Let's take a look at our CarQuest playing for keeps replay, and it's the bucket a moment ago, Gary.
And watch it, the bounce pass through, and watch this move. You see him, his whole body is going away from that basket, which ends up making it a tough play.
And that's the CarQuest playing for keeps replay. See your nearest CarQuest store. Paul Shirley, fifth-year senior. Gets overlooked with this team, Gary, because there's so much emphasis on the guard play, and deservingly so. But Paul Shirley and Martin Rancic have really stepped up with big senior seasons.
Well, he's averaging double figures, 10.6 points, 7 rebounds, and a lot of times he gives up rebounds because he'll block his man off and keep him out, and the guard will sneak in there and pick up a rebound. But that's a team play. He's looking at his dad, a proud dad, and rightfully so.
I told you his parents are from nearby Meriden, Kansas, and they always come over and make the trip to see Paul play when Cyclones visit Kansas State.
I think all the players' tickets go to Paul Shirley on this game.
Not much competition. Buchanan hands off on the come around. Reed open for three, and he missed one. And the rebound battle saved by Sullivan. No, it's out of bounds. It'll belong to Kansas State.
Again, I'm going to give you an indicator of kind of standing. Rancic stood there and looked at the play. Instead of going towards that basketball, secure it, know you have people coming and he's going to save the ball. He stood, didn't react, didn't save it.
Just a step slow, maybe, this Iowa State team tonight. We haven't seen it at all in this 9-game stretch. They have been phenomenal the way they've played. Gotten better with every outing. Down low, Travis Reynolds, double team, good defensive work.
That's that lob pass that really hurt Iowa State at Hilton.
Ivan Sulic picked up the foul against Rancic. Sulic from Croatia, Rancic from Slovakia. They have a little battle going on down there in the paint.
Iowa State now from the last, what do we got, 8.5 minutes will be in the 1-and-1.
Down low, Sullivan banked it too hard, and Buchanan the rebound. Iowa State really struggling from the floor right now. 6 of 16. But Kansas State has also struggled. They're 4 of 18.
Not a lot of great shooting so far.
Tinsley on a kick out to Power. Shane with good patience.
Larry Eustace comes up out of his crouch there and motions he wants a play run. Looked like a number 3 play.
Shirley looking for the high-low, but teams scout that stuff in the conference. They know when it's coming. There's Tinsley backing up on the dribble. Tried to throw a little over-the-head pass to Rancic for the whistle before the play. And it was a foul on Kansas State. And they'll send Iowa State to the free throw line. Goes on Larry Reed.
Now Jim Woldridge, he's upset. Watch him now. Watch him break through and split these two guys right there. Now he's going to go over his head. Picks up the foul.
Neither team has scored in the last 3.5 minutes.
In the first game against Kansas State, he was 11 for 14 from the foul line on the way to that career-high 26.
Tinsley with 4 points so far tonight. There's a good look at Jim Woldridge coaching his 400th game as a college basketball coach tonight. 14 years. And Tinsley made both free throws. 5 for Jamaal. And Iowa State leads at 18-13. Timeout on the floor. 7:58 to go in the first half. Hasn't been pretty, but Iowa State leads it by 5 with under 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Here's a Liberty herbicide stats flash, and you can see what I mean. Both teams struggling to shoot the ball, especially Kansas State. The Wildcats have turned it over 6 times. The offensive rebounds, though, well in their favor.
Well, that's going to bother Coach Larry Eustace. This is a club, Iowa State, that's number 2 in the country in rebound margin at 10.1, so got to toughen up there.
Look at this drought. 6 minutes without a hoop for Kansas State. And a block by Tinsley. Jamaal Tinsley can do it all.
Well, Larry Eustace said it. Sometimes when he gets beat, that's when he's the toughest defensively. That time he comes from behind and
Can't relax with him around, that's for sure. Shane Power on a spin. Nowhere to go with it.
No hesitation on that shot.
Jim Woolridge wanted an offensive foul on Power. Sullivan walks with it. No question.
Sullivan might be trying to do a little too much with the basketball right now. Let somebody else do something for him like it started out. Remember, he got a lot of good cuts. He hit two, then he missed two wide open ones.
Kentrail Horton will check in at the next break. Kansas State has struggled to shoot the ball. Reed trying to fix that, can't do it. And they continue to struggle. Well, two of the better field goal defense teams you're going to find, Kansas State and Iowa State. In fact, Kansas State in conference games leads the Big 12 in field goal defense. They've done their part, but they haven't been able to score it all on the other end. Down low, Martin Rancic on a quick spinning jumper, and he got it. First basket for Martin.
Well, they tried to get him the shots early like they always do to start the ball game out, and Kansas State was dumping down on him. Just two guys on him took the shot away.
The 10-2 Iowa State run since that technical foul on Larry Eustachian. So whether he meant to or not, he got something accomplished with that. And I have a feeling he meant to.
Usually they're calculated.
Everything has a purpose. Martin Rancic just picked up his second personal, reaching around.
Kansas State does a good job of running their offense, and they're tough on their picks. They'll get back picks, and you see right there by Terry. You can give him the shot out there of anybody on this team.
Well, they run it efficiently, and yet they haven't been able to convert. They haven't been able to finish. And they throw it away here, and Iowa State will have it on another Kansas State turnover. Well, Gary, if he has the night off, I'll bet one guy that's watching this game with interest is Tim Floyd. Jim Woolridge, of course, was an assistant coach to Tim Floyd with the Bulls the last couple of years, and his college roommate at Louisiana Tech. And there's Rancic, who'll go for three.
Great feed again by Kentrail Horton, getting it down deep. Long bounce pass right there, and you got to credit Rancic for holding position, keep his man coming. Watch it. Long bounce pass. He's got him on his hip, takes it up, takes the blow right there. Enough strength to get it up on the glass. Here's his pass. Takes it right in stride.
Great entry pass by Kentrail Horton. He's got to be the best I've seen it. Throwing the ball into the post on a bounce pass. He leads the man perfectly. All you got to do is catch and shoot it if you're a big guy.
And another guy who's picked up on that a little bit is Jake Sullivan. He'll do a pretty good job coming off that high pick and then getting the ball down inside, too.
By the way, that foul on Quentin Buchanan was his third, so he gets a rest right now with 3 personal fouls. Reed goes by Horton on the dribble. He is lightning quick, but they throw it away again, and Power comes up with the interception.
John, and there's an indicator of what Paul Shirley does. In addition to his stats, several times now, he come over and intimidated that shot, forced him to kick it out. Another time he's helped on defense a couple times and kept baskets from getting there.
Rancic trying to draw contact, no foul called, and Atchison tracks down the loose ball. It's a 10-point lead for Iowa State. And it doesn't feel like a 10-point lead.
No, it doesn't.
Reed on the come around. And there's the third foul on Martin Rancic. Martin Rancic gets his third personal, and Tyree Pearson will come in. And it was on help defense.
Watch Reed. You see him go in, hide the ball, and take his body right into Rancic. Watch this now. He knows he's in trouble, takes it, hides the ball, gets his body into him, and they call it on Martin Rancic, his third.
Here it is, 3 fouls on Rancic, and Reed breaks that scoring drought with a free throw. Kansas State has gone almost 10 minutes without a field goal. But Larry Reed dents the scoreboard with his free throw. And now he shoots another. He has his first 2 points of the night.
The reverse of the Iowa State game at Hilton. Kansas State staying in here on free throws right now, and Iowa State has not been to the line very often.
Kansas State has just 4 field goals in the game. Tinsley trying to draw a foul, a little acting. Another entry pass from Horton, and this time it's Pearson that finishes.
And I'll tell you, Tyree Pearson, he is a tough offensive basketball player around the hole.
Iowa State would like to go a possession without fouling. And it's knocked away and almost stolen by Shane Power. Good alertness by Shane. The Cyclone lead is 10. Von Sulich checks back in for Kansas State. Five minutes to go in the first half. Iowa State leads at 25-15, and now a foul away from the ball. And it's going to go on Shane Power. 1-1 coming now for Kansas State. Shane kept the hands away, Gary, but bumped him with the body. And the free throw is missed. Pearson the rebound off the miss by Washington. Iowa State a 10-point lead. Good bounce pass by Power. Pearson the finish.
Beautiful job. There's the penetration with you. Draws the man away a little bit, able to bounce it off.
And the Cyclone advantage is 12. Biggest lead of the night. Now they throw it away again. Horton slapped it away momentarily. Atchison got it back. Atchison fires a bomb and misses. Two Cyclones go to the defensive boards. It's Pearson that takes it away from Power. Horton.
I was going to say the Cyclone rebound has really picked up. They're doing a much better job.
Shane Power missed a three, and the rebound controlled by Travis Reynolds, the leading rebounder for Kansas State. It's not often you see a team that has its leading scorer and its leading rebounder come off the bench, but that's the case with this Kansas State team. The leading scorer, Finus Atchison, and their leading rebounder, Travis Reynolds, both come off the bench.
You notice that time Jamaal Tinsley right on Larry Reed. I think he's taken the challenge on Reed. We'll see. Reed only 2 points. Has not got too many shots. I think about 3 shots off. He's going to get one here.
Reed had it blocked by Tinsley, but a foul call. And there's another example when he's beat. He always seems to find a way to recover, but that time he did get the foul.
I could hear that one.
Reed to the free throw line for Kansas State. Larry Reed has saved his best efforts for teams from Iowa. 31, a career high against the Iowa Hawkeyes in that big win here for Kansas State. And then 30 in Ames.
I think that was the only 2 games that he's been over 20 points this season.
That's the thing about Iowa. 10-point advantage for the Cyclones.
Good job there by Tyree Pearson of going to meet the basketball.
Horton, so dangerous. He's always got his eyes up, looking, trying to find an opening. Now Paul Shirley had it knocked away. Here comes Reed. Kansas State on the run. Larry Reed to the hoop. Tough shot, and he missed it, but the tip won't go, and Shirley controls and is fouled. Good hustle by Paul Shirley.
You know, I think that was one of those fouls that when they saw it, they were going to let it go. It didn't bother anything, and then Shirley went down, and then he made the call.
Gary, the focus and practice all week for this Iowa State team has been defense. Defending this triangle offense of Kansas State. Since Larry Eustace got the technical foul to try to get his team's attention, Kansas State has gone 0 for 15 from the floor.
And since then, the defense really has picked up. It's been much better. In the early going, the first 4 or 5 minutes, Kansas State was just getting the ball down inside low about whenever they wanted to run some back cuts, getting some layups, or else getting fouled.
Well, Shirley missed the free throw, but Power rebounded, and now Tinsley hits.
That is not an easy shot. On the run, you don't use the board. Do not use the board, only the rim. Tough shot. He makes it look easy.
Tinsley's playing very well. 7 points for Jamaal.
There's that 2-man game.
Reed, double team. Good defensive work by the Cyclones again. Atchison fires over Horton and missed it again. They cannot buy one. 0 for their last 16 from the floor. Good look. Tinsley to Pearson. Great assist, Jamaal Tinsley.
And if you notice, right there, if you could see it, Jamaal Tinsley telling Pearson, run ahead. I'm waiting on you. I'll look for you. He finally opened up and he got him the ball.
The timing was perfect. Tinsley with his 4th assist, and Iowa State on a 21-6 run to lead it now by 14. Bounce around.
The funny thing earlier about Colorado, they had the lead on Kansas. Kansas now come back, but Colorado actually has played better on the road than they have at home.
Has been a strange season for them. Well, look, it's just the start of last season. Iowa State has won more games than anybody in college basketball. Duke playing tonight, Cyclones playing tonight. They would like to keep that intact. That's some nice company to keep right there. You saw Utah State, Larry Eustace's old school, on the list as well. Up the 2 players behind the screen wall has done a great job with that program, too. Down low, Seabrand on a left-hand hook. It wouldn't fall. And they've missed 17 consecutive field goals.
And Iowa State going to the boards.
Horton, a great save as Tinsley almost threw it away. Talk about bailing a guy out. 2:20 to go in the half, and Iowa State has opened up a 14-point lead. Richard Evans, hands off on the come around to Sullivan. Horton, jumper on the way. And an out, and the rebound controlled by Buchanan. He's playing with 3 fouls.
Horton having a tough time getting some shots down. We mentioned he only shot the ball 10 times in the 2 previous games coming in.
Look at the field goal shooting, Gary. Kansas State 17%. They're 4 of 24 from the floor, and they've missed 17 straight.
That's unbelievable. I tell you, always wait for a sleeping giant to wake up. I don't know if this team can do it. They're basically not a good shooting team overall in the season, but against Iowa State up there, they're terrific, 55%.
Well, most of that damage was done in the second half of that game, so they didn't start out as hot, but boy, did they pick it up in the second half. Maybe they'll do the same again here this evening. Seabrand made them both. He has 7, but Iowa State has opened up a 12-point lead with 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Fans hoping for a comeback. Rancic says no way. Gee, you'd never guess that was Paul Shirley's dad and younger brother, would you? 31-19. There's his mom. And Paul with a homecoming tonight as he is back to Kansas. 4 points and a rebound. Paul's been playing hurt, Gary.
Yes, he really has. A lot of people know he has a stress fracture in the pelvis area, and he just has to play through the pain. They've taken him out a lot of running drills. He'll get on the bicycle when the other guys are running sprints up and down, and he's struggling through it. You see his numbers there. They don't look great in the first half. But all the other things that he's done that do not show up in the scorebook is a lot of the things that he brings to his team, along with some toughness and leadership.
He also sets a pretty mean screen along the baseline. He frees up Rancic quite a bit on that Texas play that they run.
Iowa State was having some success. It looked like they're going to post up Tinsley of getting the ball down deep.
Tinsley on a hook. Got the bounce. He is so tough. 9 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, couple steals for Jamaal. Tinsley just does everything.
He's had a great first half here. He's been playing well. He's been disrupting their offense. His man-for-man defense on this guy has been good.
Reed trying to break that drought, and a foul called, and I think they got Tinsley again. That'll be his second.
Foul call number 11, Jamaal Tinsley, his second personal foul.
Second foul for Mel.
And now Tinsley, a minute 27. This is where you got to put your fingers to your head and say, I got to play smart. Watch it. He gets lost this time. He comes from behind. He's actually letting him slide in there, and he's going to go from behind, but just doesn't time it and gets him across the arm.
Reed missed the free throw. The struggles continue for Kansas State.
Returning to Kansas State, number 5, Travis Reynolds.
There's the field goal shooting and the free throw shooting. You can see that Kansas State's only hope of staying in this thing is at the line, because they can't hit anything through the floor right now. Reed has now hit 5 free throws to account for all of his points, and Iowa State's lead is 13. As Rashad Washington checks back in for Reed. Well, with Kansas State, it's either hot or cold. They beat Iowa, they beat Missouri like a drum here. Pearson down low, lost it. And then on other nights, the Wildcats have not done as well.
This was a possession, actually a 2-for-1 possession situation for Iowa State. You hate to come away with a turnover there.
Game clock at 1 minute, shot clock at 20 seconds. Atchison on a drive. Help defense by Pearson. He got the block, and here come the Cyclones with the numbers. Horton pulls up and misses. The rebound to Pearson.
Good job. I really thought Horton had a 2-on-1, should have taken it in there, either flashed there or given it off. He pulled up for the jumper.
8 points off the bench for Tyree Pearson. Kansas State in a 14-minute field goal drought. And there's a steal. Kentrail, Horton on the run. Cyclones with the numbers again. Horton finishes.
Well, I was going to bet that he doesn't try to stuff it.
We saw that in the Kansas game. First 2 points for Horton tonight. And Iowa State has its biggest lead at 17. And Kansas State can hold it for 1. It has to be a frustrating first half for Jim Woolridge. His team has done well on the defensive end in spurts, but man, they just have not been able to get a shot to go. And now Atchison fires a 3 and hits it. What do you know? They close the half with a long-range jumper to break the drought. But at halftime, the Cyclones are well out in front. It was a 27-12 run to close out the first half for Iowa State. And Kentrail Horton's layup has helped the Cyclones to a 14-point halftime advantage. Over Kansas State 37-23. That three-pointer by Atchison cuts it to 14, but Iowa State had led by 17 moments earlier. Gary, Larry Eustacia gets a technical foul early in the game. Kansas State misses its next 18 field goal attempts.
Well, I really feel like he got the technical on purpose, and Iowa State was sluggish starting out, was slow reacting, a step behind, and since that time, their defense really picked up. It really shut things off that was becoming very easy to Kansas State earlier in the game.
And Jamaal Tinsley, can he play any better? This guy has been phenomenal lately.
He's the key player in this first half. He shut down Larry Reed. He's made some penetrations, assists, steals, blocks. He just does everything.
Well, you add it all up, and it's a 14-point advantage for the Cyclones at halftime. They lead it 37-23, and we'll be back with much more in just a moment. State 37-23, and Iowa State Associate Athletic Director and play-by-play voice on the radio side, Pete Taylor, joining us at halftime. And Pete, what are your thoughts on that first half and that defensive run by Iowa State?
Well, it's a great way to start the game for Iowa State. They kind of took the crowd out of it when they got that run going. And, you know, everybody's going to make their big match of the year, Iowa State, from here on out. They're going to have the target on their backs, and that's the way Kansas State started out in this game. I think Iowa State repelled it nicely. And then what they missed 18 shots in a row before Atchison hit one at the end of the first half. Incidentally, that's the first time Iowa State's been in a zone this year.
Probably the last time.
Probably the last, that's right.
Well, you've seen this team, Pete, and you've been as close to Larry as anybody else. The thing that amazes me the most is when they go on the road. They don't win every game, but they are in every game on the road. Mentally, this team just is always prepared to go.
They were even in most of the games in Larry's first year when they had less talent. But in the last 2 years, it has been incredible what they've been able to do away from home. And it all starts with the head coach. He's got the mentality. He loves to come in and play in somebody else's arena. He gets a kick out of having the fans get on him, which they are tonight. And his players respond, I think, to the way he coaches. And I think they like to play away from home as well. If you look back, maybe some of their better performances this year actually have come on the road and not at Hilton Coliseum, which is not usually the case. But they're a tough team. They really are mentally tough.
Well, one place where they always seem to play well is at the Big 12 tournament, which is coming up, and I imagine a ton of Iowa State fans will make the trip down to Kansas City again.
Well, I can't believe there won't be overflowing with Cardinal and Gold for both the men's and women's activities. You know, it should be a great tournament once again. You and I both know, to my way of thinking, it's about the most exciting event that we have all year. You count on it every year. You know it's going to be there. It's almost like going to a bowl game. And with the Iowa State support down there and the way both teams, men and women, are playing, I look for big things to happen again.
You mentioned the bowl game. Could things be going much better for the athletic department right now? I mean, it's amazing with all the sports excelling.
Well, it's been a great year, but, you know, the hats should go off to all the coaches because they have done more with less, budget-wise and maybe personnel-wise, than anybody else in the conference. And, you know, for Dan McCarty, Bill Finley, Bobby Douglas, I could go on and on. Of course, Larry Eustacia, to do what they have done just borders on the unbelievable, really.
Well, Pete, you're getting to be a tremendous load for Eric over there, so you better go bail him out.
Okay, John, always good to talk to you.
Thanks a lot. Pete Taylor, Iowa State Associate Athletic Director. We're at halftime with Iowa State leading it over Kansas State 37-23. Iowa State led it by as many as 17, and the Cyclones have a 14-point advantage at halftime. And let's take a look at the first half highlights, Gary.
Well, for Kansas State, they only had 5 baskets. We're going to look at 2 of them. Here's Buchanan, comes off a pick, comes in there, steps on the line, so it's a 2-point, his only field goal of the first half. Come back here, you'll watch in the back door to to Howe coming in there. He gets his only field goal. Now Iowa State, Shirley with that great move, avoiding the defensive man, laying it up. He was 2 for 2 in the first half. Horton comes down, doesn't get it, but Tyree Pearson will step in. Get his 4th basket of the ball game right there. He has 8. Here's Jamaal Tinsley. Takes his man, posts him up, gets the jump hook. 9 points for Tinsley. Leads everybody in the first half.
Well, when you look at our Bud Light first half stats, you don't have to look too much farther than the first line, Gary. The field goal shooting. Kansas State, one of its last 19 from the floor. And a season low 19% in the first half for the Wildcats. And as a result, Cyclones lead it by 14 at the break. And we'll be back with second half action right after these messages. Iowa State a 14-point lead over Kansas State as we get ready to start the second half. And Gary, this Iowa State team has shown throughout the last couple of years that they can beat you in a variety of different ways. The 3-point shots were falling against Kansas. Tonight they haven't been. Iowa State just 1 of 5 from 3-point land, but they can beat you inside too.
They really can. They did a good job of entering the ball down the low post when they got that little spurt. That with a couple breaks broke it out to that 12 or 14-point lead at that time. This is crucial right now for Iowa State, I think, down here. They got the fans sitting on their hands. You got Kansas State down a little bit. They may come out a little bit motivated after hitting that 3-point, but if Iowa State can come out and jump off to a few points here, they can kind of get things really going their way and take Kansas State and the crowd and keep them out of this ball game.
Sullivan for 3. How's that for a start?
Well, you know, I think that's a set play coming out of the halftime. Sullivan started the game with that 3-pointer. They run the same little set for him. They get him back on track.
17-point advantage for the Cyclones. Matching their biggest lead of the night. Richie Terry on a drive. Wild shot. No good, but he drew a foul on Sullivan. That's something we saw them try to do early in the game, was expose the matchup of Terry and Sullivan.
Very first play of the game, he tried to take him down. And right there, Sullivan, turn him loose. He's not a good shooter. Let the big guys make him come over and put some hands up.
Now they say the foul was not in the act of shooting, so ball in bounds for Kansas State. Buchanan gets the jumper off and misses. Tinsley the rebound. So Kansas State continues to struggle. Tinsley a bounce, surely misses. And the rebound controlled by Howell.
Good pass. You can see Tinsley just watching everybody, head and eyes up. He finally was there, got it through. There's that where you get sometimes an inability to double clutch, double pump the ball or take it away from that defender.
Excellent help defense by Shirley, and then he committed the foul. But his initial defense was just terrific.
This is the area that Kansas State dominated would make Eustachy unhappy at halftime. Kansas State out-rebounded Iowa State 20-18 in the first half, and they had 8-3 in offensive rebounds. Watch it go up again. See Howell come across right there, catch it against the rim.
Well, Kelvin Howell coming off the best game of his career. 21 points, 20 rebounds against Texas Tech, and you can see he hasn't quite lived up to that so far tonight. That kind of came out of nowhere. Here's a guy averaging 6.6 rebounds, and he goes 21 and 20.
For a guy averaging just under 7 points a game and about 6.6 rebounds, so great night for him.
Howell, the first player ever to go 20-20 in a Big 12 league game. 3 others have done it in non-conference. 2 others, rather, have done it in non-conference play. Kansas State after an Iowa State turnover. Larry Reed might have gotten away with a little push-off there.
Right. Tough job here. Tinsley did an excellent job. I think they're matching up size-wise. You got Tinsley on Buchanan.
Shirley knocked it away. Horton gets it ahead to Martin Rancic.
Not much noise when you dunk the ball on the road, is there? It's pretty quiet here in Bradley.
Just as much fun, though. Great play by Paul Shirley. You know, it's overlooked, Gary, but he's second on this team in steals.
Well, that's what I said. A lot of the things he does. And we got this Martin Rancic. He's been fighting him in there. That'll be his 4th.
Yeah. So we're going to see some more of Tyree Pearson. Here comes Tyree. 4 personal fouls on Martin Rancic. He'll check out with 7 points. And Tyree Pearson, who had a great first half with 8 points and 5 rebounds, a couple blocked shots, checks in.
Every time Rancic seemed to get going, he's pretty quiet starting out. Then he got a little something going offensive. Then he picked up his 3rd foul. Now he comes in here, he starts out, gets a dunk right there. Picks up his 4th, got to sit down. Hard to get a rhythm.
Ivan Sulich swings it out to Reed. Reed to the baseline. Blocked by Horton. Great defensive play. By the way, Martin Rancic's parents, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's take a look at Horton.
That big body right here goes up. Gets both hands on the ball.
Now Iowa State comes away with an interception. Horton has it. Rancic's parents saw him play in person in collegiate basketball for the first time in that Kansas game. They're over watching his brother Ratto play for St. Cloud State tonight. So they're not here, but they're in the United States for a couple of weeks. And they're going to check out those last two home games for the Cyclones. Enter the Budweiser Championship ticket giveaway and 2 all-session tickets to the Big 12 Conference Basketball Tournament in Kansas City. Countries have gone up as well.
Don't want to miss out on that chance.
Oh,
those tickets are hard to come by.
Fun tournament. Sold-out tournament. Larry Eustachy's team won it a year ago, and who would have thought that they'd be back in the driver's seat again this year? It's an amazing story.
And this is a key game. His last 4, I thought, coming on the road. To win one here, it really puts them in a great position if they can win. A little earlier, I checked the score. Baylor was up on Texas by about 5 with 10 minutes to go in the second half.
Dave Bliss has done a job this year, hasn't he?
He has.
Kentrail Horton. Shot clock to 12, and Horton like a second point guard out on the floor. Down low, it's Shirley. And he had it blocked by Reynolds. They'll call the travel. Travis Reynolds, a good defensive play.
Reynolds 6'7", and a good jumper.
Hey, there's that Baylor-Texas update for you.
That game is going just about like it was expected to be. A close, 1 or 2 points either way could go, and it's hanging right in there in that 1 point every time we look.
Down low, Travis Reynolds in traffic. Sullivan nearly took it away. Now Buchanan. Oh, how did he get that shot to go?
Tyree Pearson was over there, really made him change that shot.
First field goal of the second half for the Wildcats. They went through that 0 for 18 drought in the first half, and then started out cold to start the second half. Tinsley yo-yos the dribble. Out to Sullivan. Good swing to Horton for 3. And the long rebound controlled by Buchanan.
Horton just really struggling right now with his shot. He's just coming up short. He's on line there. He might be, we talked about having the flu and losing some strength.
Reed on a jumper. And that's the first field goal for Larry Reed so far tonight.
And you got to be careful with these guards. They can, all of a sudden, they can light you up. They have the quickness to break you down the dribble, pull up, and hit the shot.
Let's not forget Iowa State had a lead about like this against Kansas State at Hilton. And the Wildcats came back and made it a 4-point game late. Sullivan goes by Reed with the dribble.
K-State fans trying to pick it up a little bit now, too.
Tinsley, so tough out here. Tinsley puts it on the floor. A bounce to Shirley. He lost it, but Horton's up with it. Shot clock at 5. Tinsley for 3. Got it!
Oh, does that hurt you when you're the other team? Shot clock running down.
A dozen for Tinsley. Well, the more pressure you put into a situation, the better he's going to be. He loves the spotlight. He loves to play under pressure.
In conference play, hitting 43% of those three-point shots, even though he struggled against Kansas.
And the Cyclone lead is back to 17. Place went quiet in a hurry. Buchanan, tough jumper. Rebound, Jamaal Tinsley. He's doing everything. Tinsley, down court on the fly to Pearson. He'll go for a three-point play.
Would you love to play with this guy? If you run the court, you're going to get the basketball. You're going to get an opportunity to get a lot of cheap baskets. Watch it. He's looking all the time right over the top. You turn your head and lose vision, you're done. Good strength right there by Tyree Pearson, putting it up after taking the hit. Chance to the old-fashioned three-point play and a chance to stretch it to an even 20.
Biggest lead of the night for Iowa State. Wholesale changes for Kansas State, and Pearson with 10 points already goes to the free throw line. 11 now for Tyree, and Iowa State leads it by 20. Well, the way this game started, who would have guessed it? But Jamaal Tinsley, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and Jake Sullivan chipping in with a couple threes. The Cyclones lead it by 20. And here's another Budweiser quick stat. The steals, Tinsley with 2 of them. Iowa State has 8 steals, none for the Wildcats.
And that was big for the Cyclones against Kansas, too. I think they had 13 steals in that ball game.
And 12 against Missouri.
Yeah.
Tinsley's averaging About 4.5 steals over the last 5 games. He's been terrific.
Well, a good start for the Cyclones, this we talked about. You want to come out, jump on the Wildcats, and get them down. They've done just that, taking 20 points, and now the thing is, you do not want to let up.
The defensive intensity has really picked up for Iowa State. Pearson challenged the shot, and he'll send Kelvin Howell to the free throw line. But you saw the start of the game, Gary. It didn't seem like the Cyclones were down in their defensive stance. It didn't seem like they were quick on their feet. And right now, they're playing terrific defense.
Well, that happened, when Stacy got that technical. That's when they kind of turned up the defensive game.
Kelvin Howell's free throw is well off the mark.
And you're always a good percentage if you foul him and keep him in the basket. Just a 43% free throw shooter, and he actually has shot 81 free throws in the game, so it isn't like he's just shot 14 or 15.
Couldn't have missed those two by much more. It's out of bounds to Iowa State, so Howell now 1 of 4 at the line in this one. And Iowa State's lead is 20. The Cyclones trying to improve to 23-3 overall, 11-2 in the Big 12. Shooting for their 10th straight conference victory, which would match a Big 12 record set by Kansas.
Iowa State sets in that 1-4 offense this time.
Horton double team. He loves that. Dribbles in, trying to create. He lost it out of bounds. Normally, Kentrail can spot somebody when they come out to double.
A tough night for Kentrail. He's struggled a little bit. Again, I don't think he's just right after that flu. He hasn't come back.
Well, there's the turnover story. And points off turnovers, Iowa State a big advantage. Larry Reed's jump shot on the way. In and out. Boy, they can't buy one. And an over-the-back foul on Howell as Pearson blocked out to get the rebound. Kansas State for the game is 7 for 34 from the floor, 20.6%. That's not getting it done. Shane Power into the Cyclone lineup. For Jake Sullivan. Horton down low to Pearson. Tried to throw the hook shot up there and drew the foul on Sebring.
John, you had good ball movement that time, good player movement. You had a clear out by Tinsley out there, and they had shoot Pearson down to the post, low post, where they want him to get the ball, and gets it down inside.
Well, a reminder that later in the game, we'll be choosing an Iowa State player for the Liberty Herbicide Off the Bench Award. And this guy right here has to be a pretty strong candidate for that honor. Tyree Pearson playing well.
4 for 5 in the first half. Got 11 total points, shooting for an even dozen right here.
And the long rebound controlled by Atchison. Iowa State has its biggest lead at 21. Tinsley knocked it away. Power up with it. Iowa State with the numbers. Power to the trailer, Pearson, and an offensive foul called. Nice job taking the charge by Richie Terry. A little indecisiveness that time from Power. You want to get it right back to Jamaal Tinsley, don't you?
Who gets credit for the steal? To me, Tinsley should get credit. Watch here now. Look away, comes over there, and you get Pearson does not stay away from the offensive foul.
Third foul on Tyree Pearson. But I'm thinking if you're Shane Power and you come up with that ball, you better get it right back to Jamaal Tinsley. Let him get in the middle of the floor and decide who gets it. There's an unforced turnover. And now Horton outraces everybody to the other end. Howell blocked it off of Horton. It's going to belong to, well, there's an indecisiveness here as David Hall and Kelly Groom disagree.
Now, it's a matter if he has stepped on the line, then Hall's call is right. If not, let's watch it here.
It is Kansas State's ball. I think they got it right.
Yeah, it went off Kentrail. He's definitely right there.
Yeah, he's standing out of bounds, and the ball hit him right in the mind. You're not going to argue this one. 21-point game.
You know, really, Kansas State has not moved the ball with as much quickness as they did, particularly at Iowa State. They've been a little sluggish, even though they're playing at home.
Terry on a kick out to Reed. That's what they did well. in Ames, but good defensive work by Tinsley covering up. Boy, has he been terrific on the defensive end. Terry missed the shot, drew the foul on Shirley. We are seeing Jamaal Tinsley all over the place defensively.
I think he came here to play with a purpose tonight after that. Larry Reed went for 30 and lit him up there at Iowa State, and a lot of it was Jamaal Tinsley not keeping vision on the guy and losing him. He'd get wide open for the shots.
Now look what Duke did to Georgia Tech tonight. So they've now won 54 games in the last 2 years, just like Iowa State. Cyclones on their way to number 55 tonight. Jim Aldridge, his first year at Kansas State. Tech's winner recommended him for the job. Great Kansas State coach. The architect of the triangle offense, which this Kansas State team runs under Jim Aldridge. Shirley collects the rebound and then throws it away, and Tinsley up onto the scorer's table. Unforced turnover for the Cyclones, a rarity. 32nd timeout called by Larry Eustache, and he's still got the game face going. End of the Budweiser, Missouri. Well, let's look at the progression of Iowa State, Gary, from the start of the season, from the start of Big 12 play to right now in terms of the polls.
Well, it's kind of typical of a Larry Eustache team. They'll start out the year and start slow and just keep building and usually get better and better as the season goes on. That's exactly what's happened here. It happened last year, it happened this year. And you got to hope that the Cyclones will keep it going.
Larry Reed, good move. Jumper, in and out. Long rebound to Reed. Kansas State still 20% for the game. I mean, 20% even.
Real.
They miss another one, they dip into the teens. That is frigidly cold shooting, and it's a frigidly cold day here in Manhattan. Jumper Reynolds, they got one. Just the third field goal of the second half, and just the 8th field goal of the game for Kansas State. Power lost it, got it back. Shane Power on a kick out to Horton. 19-point advantage for the Cyclones. Still a lot of time to go here. 11:44 left.
Run the clock, but you want to keep that offensive mood going.
Tinsley so dangerous with the dribble. Jamaal Tinsley had it stripped, drew a foul. And he was fouled, I believe, before the shot, but we'll see what they say.
It's going to be on Terry.
2 shots coming for Jamaal.
You know, that's the case with a guy like Tinsley. I think the guy that's covering, he beats him by half step. Do not reach. Watch here. Let's see if we see Terry reach as he goes across. Right there. See him slapping across? That's where you got to turn him loose and make him at least make that shot. Or get some help from your teammates.
Tinsley missed the free throw. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 5 rebounds rather, 5 assists, a couple steals. Jamaal Tinsley's hit 4 of 5 from the floor. Having a terrific ball game. 13 now for Tinsley. Iowa State's lead is 20 with 11:32 to go. Watching Larry Eustache too much. He's got the same facial expression. You'd never guess by his look or by Larry's look that the Cyclones lead it by 20.
A couple years from now, he'll understand it. It requires a smile when you're up by 20. You're a little sleepy, maybe. Cute little kid, isn't he?
Let's take a look at a Budweiser quick stat. Fast break points. 12-0 Cyclones. Larry is ever the perfectionist. Always looking for something else to work on. Never satisfied. Good help defense there by Shirley. Now Reed backs him up with the dribble. Inside, Reynolds. Shot it in. Nice shot.
That is a good shot because Kyrie Pearson comes off. He's a good jumper, gets up there high, and makes him elevate that shot.
11 minutes to go. Iowa State's lead is 18.
2-1-2 game now. Let's see what happens.
Shane Power to Pearson. Tried to throw it over to Shirley, but it was knocked away and stolen by Richie Terry.
It's one of those plays where Tyree just committed himself. If there really wasn't there, he said, I'm just going to throw it a little off balance.
Ivan Sulic gets Pearson in the air and missed the shot, but he'll go to the line. A rare offensive move from Ivan Sulic.
And he's the type of guy you really do not want to leave your feet on because he's not a good scorer, doesn't shoot the ball well. You don't want to let him get it to the basket. Make him shoot it in on you. Stay down. Right there, he gets off out of balance, and Sulic takes it down. Doesn't get it down, but goes chance to go to the line. And not a good free throw shooter either.
4 fouls now for Tyree Pearson. And so Rancic will check back in for the Cyclones. He also has 4 fouls. Well, on top of the poor field goal shooting for Kansas State, they're 13 of 23 from the free throw line. So nothing falling for the Wildcats tonight.
And most of that's come in the second half. They were 12 for 16 in the first half. In the second half, there are none shooters from the foul line. The guys have been there shooting the free throw. First half, it's mostly the guards.
Solich, it's 1 of 2, and now Kelvin Howell will take his place.
Coach Woolridge over there. His team's down by 17, but trying to get some encouragement going. Still a little over 10 minutes to go.
Kentrail, Horton on the dribble. And Jim Woolridge and Larry Eustace have a great deal of respect for each other. In fact, Larry says he respects Jim Woolridge as much as any coach in the conference or more. And Jim Woolridge says Iowa State is his favorite team to watch in the conference. He loves the way Iowa State plays. Horton on a drive. And an offensive foul called on the Cyclones.
Larry Eustace's up. I didn't think it was a bad move. Let's watch it. There, takes a step.
I don't know if they called it on Kentrail or not, did they? I thought it might have been away from the ball.
Thought he called travel.
Oh, they called it travel. Okay, I'm sorry.
Nice
down
move.
low they get it, and Buchanan lays it in.
Well, this is a game you don't want to take for granted. Still, as I said, a lot of time. Got it back to 15. Crowd picking it up a little. This would be a good possession to silence the crowd right here. Come up with a score.
Good patience by Rancic. Shot clock at 17. 5-0 run right now for the Wildcats. Power on the baseline. Nowhere to go. Good defensive work. Shirley on a look to Horton. Nice play. Good patience by the Cyclones.
And right away, that crowd just settles right back down. I think that's a big possession for Iowa State right there. They come away with a score.
It's the difference between having a senior team and having a young team. Not understanding that situation and taking your time to make sure to get a good look on that possession.
Atchison a little quiet.
It's quiet in here. Under 9 minutes to go. Long jumper, Terry, no good. And Tinsley another rebound. And he loves to push it up the floor, but Terry saw it coming that time. And here comes Richie Terry after the steal.
And the Cyclones got people back. They got 3 men back to Kansas State's 2. Nice job. And Reynolds getting a little pushing on Rancic, and Rancic can't come back at it.
Rancic, the defensive rebound, and Iowa State has a chance to run right here. It's 3-on-3. Tinsley, cross court, Power for 3. Missing. Rancic tried to stuff it, couldn't. And Power comes up with it. He still can't get one to go.
I think Rancic might have got hit. He was right there for the stuff. And
Terry on a drive. Inside. Missed the layup. Rancic tipped it to Shirley. And a foul called on Kansas State. Boy, oh boy. Poor shooting for both teams here in the last couple minutes.
This reminds me right now, several years ago at Kansas State, particularly when Dana Altman was here, they just had a club that could get anything down right there. Rancic looks like he's going to stuff it down, and to me it looked like he got fouled. Good move by Shane Power right there. There's another look at that play.
Terry checks out with his 4th foul.
You know what's funny? Players, Terry is not a shooter. They're making a little comeback. All of a sudden, he jumps one up from 3-point range.
Tinsley into traffic, lost it. Rancic up with it. Martin Rancic couldn't finish, and the rebound is Seabrand. Now the Cyclones have started to cool off from the floor now. Seabrand running that triple post offense. On the drive, it was kicked away.
Well, he's a football player.
Rashad Washington booted it to Reed. We'll see if he gets some assists out of the deal. Reed's jumper missing, and the rebound to Rancic. Here's Tinsley in the open court. How much fun is this? Tinsley inside. Drew a foul. Well, when he gets the ball in the middle of the floor, you're retreating defensively, you're in trouble.
You're at his mercy.
Really are. I think Buchanan just fouled out of here. He did.
I was waiting for that ball. I thought it was maybe going back over to the lane man. He decided to take it up, draws the foul. He's got that great ability of taking it away from you, drawing the foul.
Buchanan fouls out with 7:14 to go with 6 points. And 6 rebounds. He's done for the night. Tinsley to the line, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Tinsley coming off that 1 for 13 from the floor against Kansas tonight, 4 of 5 from the floor.
And I think it was in the first half where Iowa State really got control of this game, where he was really tough. He made some steals. He was defending on Larry Reed. Pushed the ball down, got it to the low post on the break. A couple of great passes.
He's improved his free throw shooting his senior season also. 15 for Tinsley. He had 26 against Kansas State the first go-around. Never guess it by looking at him, but his team's up 19.
My dad was really good with his hands. Could have been a surgeon if he wanted to. He could hear a car driving by and tell you whether it needed a tune-up or if the brakes were starting to go. Doctors and lawyers would stop at his garage asking for professional advice. And after school, he'd let me watch him work his magic on cars. More than anyone, he taught me how to earn my customers' trust. Like Dad, I'm proud to be a professional auto technician and proud of the work we do.
CarQuest, the professional choice. And now for something distinctly different from Dodge, the all-new Dodge Stratus. Stratus sedan has the government's highest safety rating, a 5-star frontal crash safety rating for both driver and front passenger. And now with low 0.9 financing on Stratus, you'll find the difference may actually be even better. Dodge Stratus. Different.
Chrysler minivans continue to receive more and more and more awards. Now it's time to reward you with the Chrysler and Jeep Rewards Program. For a limited time, you can get 0.9% APR financing or a $1,500 cash allowance on minivans. So reward yourself today. Drive home one of our award winners, and that's better than taking home a trophy. See your Chrysler dealer today.
19-point advantage for Iowa State with 7:14 to play, and during that entire timeout, Larry Eustace spent most of the time in a one-on-one discussion with Jamaal Tinsley.
Never quits coaching. And the Cyclones in good shape right now, looking to come away with their 10th straight conference win.
You know, you can do that, Gary, when you know you've got great assistant coaches. And Larry Eustace has what he considers the best staff in the country. Florida knocks off Mississippi. Notre Dame upsets Boston College. Although in South Bend, maybe a mild upset.
Iowa State's done a good job of switching off that with the big man on Reed when they come off that 2-on-2 game. Now let's see if they're recovering back. Back they go.
Cross court. Seabrant in traffic. Left hand. Got it. Drew the foul. Matt Seabrant will go for a three-point play, and he used the left hand again.
Paul Shirley almost comes away with the interception right there. He just had his body turned a little bit and couldn't recover. Let's watch it. There's this recovery. Didn't get it the left hand, as you said, by Seabrand, who's a natural left-hander, but normally, as you see there, shoots the free throws and his field goes right-hand.
He's got the whole thing backwards. 9-point sounding day for Seabrand, and it's a 17-point game. This is Shirley on jump shot right side. And up high for the rebound, Kelvin Howell. Quickly the other way, Seabrand again.
That won't make Coach Stacy happy.
And he got a timeout. And this time I think he'll talk to everybody. I have a feeling he's not going to just talk to Tinsley on this timeout. 15-point lead now for Iowa State. Still plenty of time to go in this one. Well, coming up next on the Iowa State Television Network, Wednesday, 1 week from tonight, February 28th at 6:30, the Iowa State Cyclones take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Remember, a 6:30 tip. Check your local listings and tune in Next Wednesday, February 28th at 6:30, when the Cyclones take on the Red Raiders, and the way things are shaping up, that game might be the one to try to clinch it. Never know.
We'll see after that little timeout if the Cyclones come back and rev it up a little bit here for the last 6 minutes and 26 seconds.
Second half field goal shooting. Kansas State has now picked it up. They're up to 27% from the game, and believe me, it was down a lot lower than that.
And Iowa State dropped it off a little bit.
Well, Kansas State, the best field goal defensive team in conference play, hold their opponents under 40% on the season. Horton double team goes right through it. Horton on a jump shot. In and out. And the rebound controlled by Reed, and Kansas State now trying to make a run.
Give him some momentum going on this possession. That's a critical miss right there.
Here's where you want a good shot if you're Kansas State. Linus Atchison.
And you'd like either that guy. Well, this guy has played pretty well too. Good defense.
Rancic comes up with the steal, and now Tinsley will push it the other way, and Iowa State has an advantage. Tinsley on a spin. Denied by Kelvin Howell.
Was a good umbrella on the inside.
Again, Kansas State a chance to chip away. Reed will try a three. Boy, he wasn't missing those names. Out of bounds to Iowa State.
You know, the difference in him is he started off with Tinsley on him, and he missed some shots. He's been a little hesitant on his shooting. When you do that, you're not going to usually have a good night.
Let's take a look at the foul trouble for both teams. Buchanan's already gone. Pearson and Rancic, the two power forwards for Iowa State, each with 4 fouls. Iowa State trying to use some clock. They'll spread the floor right here.
And get that penetration, take the hoop. If they dive on you, and double it down, kick out, get the open shot.
Tinsley and Horton are so dangerous when you do this. Horton tried to bounce it down low to Rancic, but a foul before. It's called on Atchison.
That's what they do. It's pretty simple. It's one-on-one in that situation. Off the pick, take it in. You get by and you get guys reaching and grabbing. Now the Cyclones in pretty good shape. They shoot 1-on-1 from here on. Or get into the 2-shot.
There's the free throw shooting for both teams so far tonight. Horton makes the first. He has 5 points. You know, Gary, we talked about the streaks and the records and everything that Iowa State's done over the last couple of years. Right here tonight, Iowa State can win its 5th straight conference road game. First time that Iowa State would have done that since the 1943-44 season.
These teams are doing everything. These last 2 teams for Iowa State. And this one particular.
Our producer, Bob Helmers, claims, Gary, that you played in those games, but I know better.
No, I said I was doing the color.
and
Bob he was producing. Right.
Well, I know I wasn't around. Close, but not quite.
We were thinking about you, though.
Iowa State's lead is 17.
Well, it's been a lot of fun in the Cyclone telecast with you, John. And sometimes right now we think we got it made as Cyclone fans are watching. And you laugh and joke a little bit, but it's been a tremendous run. You take these 2 guards for Iowa State, Tinsley and Horton. They're going to now be 25-4 as starters in conference games. And the 2 of them have never lost a game in Hilton Coliseum. I mean, they got 2 left in their careers at Hilton.
Well, that time Tinsley fired it off one of our cameramen. Larry Eustacia said that with Jamaal, you take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. Sometimes he's going to throw one off an alumni's head, and other times he's going to put it right on the money.
Well, I think that time Richard Evans didn't go to the basket like he thought he would.
Travis Reynolds hits a hook shot. He's been about it for the Kansas State offense during the second half anyway. 56-41 to score.
Just run some time. 3 out.
Horton against Terry. Shot clock to 15. And now Tinsley comes back out high to have control of the dribble. They'll give Horton a chance. 8 to shoot. Kentrail Horton. Off a screen. Bounce pass to Rancic. Missed the shot but drew the foul, and what a great play by Iowa State.
Little two-man game, actually, on the drive by Horton and the seal by Rancic, which is a key part of that, too, as well as the pass.
Rancic to the line. Martin at 75% on the season. Mentioned his parents were in Ames for that big win over Kansas. Vladimir and Sonia. Seeing Martin play college basketball for the first time in his career as a senior, and that was a very fun afternoon for Martin. And now they're in St. Cloud watching younger brother Ratto play for St. Cloud State.
And be back to Horton. Watch Martin play his last 2 games at Iowa State.
Timeout on the floor. Iowa State's lead is 17 with 3:15 to go. .315 to go. Iowa State's lead is 17, and our Liberty off the bench award for the game goes to Tyree Pearson. 12 points, 6 rebounds. He hit 5 of 7 from the floor. Liberty herbicide. Smarter corn, smarter herbicide.
John, I always say that guy, you're looking at him right there, Tyree Pearson. His points are so quiet.
Well, look at the new shoes. The walk-ons have gone to some new shoes, and one starter has gone to them too, Jamaal Tinsley. Down low they get it, and the lay-in's good by Reynolds.
Well, Iowa State relaxing a little bit now because that's the play we're talking about at the top of the show, the lobs and the backdoor cuts that hurt them in Iowa State, and they haven't got a lot of that here until just now.
Back to a 15-point game, and Iowa State spreads the floor again. Shane Power. Every once in a while, Shane will surprise you and take one of those all the way in there and dunk it. He's done that before. Tinsley getting hand checked all over the place. No calls. Shot partially blocked. Howell the rebound, and Tinsley looks over at David Hall as if to say, where's the foul?
And Rancic, he's gone. Could be his 5th.
Well, Martin Rancic will foul out with 9 points on the night. Rancic, 9.6 boards, and at the free throw line, Kelvin Howell. Mentioned that Martin Rancic's father, Vladimir, in town. Gary, one of the top handball officials in the world. And I'm sure that in the amount of time you visited with Vladimir in the last couple of days, a bit later in the telecast, you can brush us up on all the rules of handball. Wouldn't know where to start. You have to use your hand. You start. Howell misses.
I played that game.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe you will.
Never heard of a hinder?
Not until now.
Handball players know what I'm talking about.
Well,
some racquetball players too.
Just over 2 minutes to go. Iowa State's lead is 15. And Horton with a good look at power. Tipped by Shirley is good.
Yeah, nice job by Paul Shirley coming in there down in his hometown territory and able to finish up with one like that.
That's what Paul does best, is go to the offensive boards. Gary, you mentioned in your keys the importance of holding these Kansas State guards down, or importance for Kansas State for their guards to shoot it well. Despite that one by Atchison, they are now combined 3 for 21 from the floor, their 2 guards, Atchison and Reed. Tinsley on a spin, had it blocked, drew a foul. Go on Richie Terry, and Tinsley earns a trip to the free throw line. He took a beating on that one.
And Terry might earn a trip to the bench. I think that might be his 5th.
I think it is.
Foul is called number 32, Richie Terry. It's his 5th personal foul.
So Terry will leave. He did not score in the game. And Tinsley, who has 15 points, goes to the free throw line. Jamaal Tinsley has stepped it up in Big 12 conference play. He gets to the free throw line a lot. 146 free throw attempts in the season for Jamaal Tinsley coming into this game. More than any other Cyclone, he gets to the line. Watch the way he shoots this, Gary. When he gets that ball, he doesn't waste any time.
Yeah, let's watch here. He's getting to 1-1. If he hits the first one, let's watch the second one particularly. See, I think you'll see him bounce here now when he gets the ball. Let's watch it. Motion him up. See if he bounces it. You never know the same amount of times, but he'll bounce it. And I want you to watch if he makes this one. Good. Only got two. He had a two-shot foul.
Tinsley misses the first.
Yeah, we're getting a little disruption here. That
throws off the whole routine.
Well, let's see. Yeah, he just usually catches that second one just like that. No bounce. He's got no routine that he follows, like you say a lot of free throws should. Shooter should do, or a putter, you know, a routine in there. And he usually bounces once, 2, 3 times the first time, gets it back, just shoots the second one.
Well, he is 7 for 9 at the line in this one. Reed misses a 3. Rebound to Sulich, and he converts. Sulich with 3 points.
You can tell that Sulich doesn't score a lot because the crowd gives him a big hand and getting one down inside.
13-point lead for Iowa State. It's the closest it's been since the 33-20 score late in the first half. But Iowa State has been in control almost the whole way. Horton to Tinsley, and we're under a minute to go now.
You know, these two guards right there, this is tough to double up either one of them. This nice slick move there by Horton and the double up.
Horton, double team, they took it away. He got it back, 3 to shoot. Still loose, and it's a shot clock violation. It'll go over to Kansas State. Boy, you got to hand it to Jim Woldridge's team. They keep on hustling. And you know what? This crowd understands. They're cheering the effort of Kansas State, too. Well, 10-game conference winning streak is the longest in the Big 12 since Kansas did it in 1997-98. That ties a conference record set by the Jayhawks.
And a chance for a big one. Their 11th going to Texas Saturday.
That basically could wrap up the conference. Long jumper. Atchison is good at 3. Finus Atchison hits a 3, and Jim Woldridge calls a timeout. And this is a 10-point game. Let's take a look at some Big 12 conference scores. Kansas holding on against Colorado. 12-point game in the second half. And Texas does knock off Baylor, which sets up a big one with Iowa State Saturday night. 8 o'clock tip. Nebraska up 1 at Texas Tech. And Oklahoma State leads at A&M. And the list of accomplishments for this Iowa State team grows and grows and grows. And now, some big ones coming up to close out the season. There's a look. We'll have the Texas Tech game for you on the Cyclone Television Network. But first is a trip to Austin, and then on the Big 12 Network, that Texas Tech and the Nebraska game to close it out. And then it's off to the Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament.
Iowa State with 1 timeout left if they need it.
Foul call. I have to give these Kansas State fans and players some credit. They have continued to play hard, and the fans have stuck around. I mean, there's 27 seconds to go in the game, and the fans have stuck around. Jim Woldridge has a good recruiting class coming in. He's done a nice job taking over this program.
He's got 2 JUCOs and a good guard out of Texas as a freshman coming into that 3. I don't know if he's adding anything else to it, but it's a good start.
Jake Sullivan gets his first free throw of the night. Sullivan at 90.5% on the season. It's at 39 of 43 now. Missed the second. Had to do it then. 9 points for Sullivan in this one. And Kansas State trails by 11. They've overcome their shooting woes here in the second half, but it was too late. Atchison in and out. And the rebound tipped out. It'll belong to Kansas State. No, it'll belong to Iowa State. Shane Power will just let the clock run out, and Iowa State will win it 62-51. The Cyclones will go to 23-3 on the season, their 10th straight victory in the conference, matching a Big 12 record, and they go to 11-2 in conference play. The Cyclones have got to go on 62-51 the final tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN Plus, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports television. Our next telecast on the Cyclone Television Network, Texas Tech and Iowa State, 1 week from tonight. Make it a 6:30 tip from Hilton Coliseum. Thanks for joining us. 62-51 the final in favor of Iowa State.